What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Quality Time with Uncle Drew. I am your host, Drew Davis, aka Uncle Drew. And we have a very special guest with us here today, my girl, Ami. We met
Hey.
in acting school. And I always like to introduce people and tell people how we met. But Ami is one of the most talented people I've been around. She's young,
Oh my
she's
God.
energetic, she's going to get on your nerves because she knows all the right buttons to push. But everybody freaking loves Ami because she's real, she's
Uh,
genuine, she'll give you the clothes off her back, go out of her way to give you a ride home in LA, even if you live across the town, which is crazy to me. But that's really where her real love shines. Well, she's gonna take care of you as much as she can. And
mm.
just I like to say, welcome to the show, Ami Z.
Thank you. That was so sweet. Thank you for a very sweet intro.
I'm just being real, and that's all I know how to
I'm
do.
like, now, listen, I am not going out of my way. If you live in Pacific Palisades, honey, catch the train. I don't know what to tell you. But if you are on the way to downtown LA, then yes, I got you.
She's trying to act all big and bad now. She gonna make sure you get home safe. One of
Yes.
my first times. So when me and Ami met in acting school, I'm gonna tell you about the very first time we met because it's so funny. We all had to go to this auditorium to meet. We were in acting school. We go to this auditorium for orientation or whatever it might be. We sit there, we listen to them talk. It's cold as hell in this orientation. I'm looking around to see
Yeah.
what other black people are in there because, there's usually not a lot of us when we go into a space. And I count, on one hand, about 4 or 5 of us at the time. And so I'm like, all right, cool. And so we get out of the orientation and we're headed out of there. And I'm walking out and then we're leaving and I'm kind of making eye contact with a couple people. And I see Ami up there and Ami makes eye contact with me and she looks like a little baby deer. She's
Oh
like,
my
please
God.
be my friend, be my friend. I don't have any friends yet. And I was like,
Look
come
like
here, Ami. I got you, girl. What's up? I'm Drew. Where you from? Well, we gonna be real tight over these next couple years.
not even
That it ain't happen like that.
what? First of all, we were in that orientation and they run around and we all had to stand up and or say what we wanted out of acting school or something. I don't remember, but I remember I stood up and said not some wild shit, but I was like to be an Oscar winner. Like it was something and everybody started laughing. And so I already had friends on deck, sir. People knew I was the girl with the Riz. They knew they could come up to me and have a kiki, okay? Let's get that part clear. But yes, we were there like black people do. We magnetized and we were like, I'm gonna look out for you. You gonna look out for
Mhm.
me. And we still looking. So
That's how it goes. So, like I said, the walk of life and being in acting school let me get in contact with and grow with so many other people. Ami was one of those people, and she comes from the East Coast, so DMV stand up. We have the we we have the same thing. We have African parents, so we're gonna get into that and talk about that a little bit.
yeah.
But we're gonna go back to the beginning. So Ami grows up on the East Coast, very smart young lady, grows up in an African household, goes to college, and I'm fast forwarding a little bit, so stop me at any
I
point.
was like, whoop.
Goes to college, graduates in 2019, and I think a similarity that everybody on the face of this earth can talk about is what exactly happened when COVID hit and what people did afterwards. You recently graduated, started working a job, 2019, 2020 COVID hits. What's going through your mind as this ravenous pandemic is going through the United States and you go from working to being at home and thinking about your life?
You know, I don't think as I mean nobody was, but I was so unprepared for COVID. Like I did not have an imaginative state where I could really think of an epidemic hitting the world in the way that COVID did. I was 23. I had just graduated in December with my bachelor's in Homeland Security. And I was working, that's when I was working at Senator Warner's office in Richmond. I was a policy intern or some sort of intern. I was an intern. But really, what I was doing was I was like I would take the calls. I would have to start the case files and transfer people to their respective caseworkers for all sorts of different government administrative things that they needed to get done, or for the senator to champion on their behalf or something. And I remember when like COVID stuff like I don't even remember if I remember COVID stuff coming in, but I do remember the office starting to like chatter about it a little. And we were like, oh, okay, like a couple cases, because it started on Washington, like in Washington State or somewhere over there. And I remember we were all like, this is kind of crazy, but we're going to monitor it. And I mean, it was such an interesting position to be in, because for anybody who's worked for, a senator, I feel like even at the lowest level, you are entrusted with a heavy load of information and like sensitive information. So to like start being inundated with people like calling about certain like housing things they wanted to fix before, like if COVID got bigger, or like food crises, or the military, like everything the senator has to handle. So I feel like that on top of COVID, it was so crazy. And then all of a sudden they were like, okay, we don't need you to come in on X, Y, and Z days. Then it was like, okay, we're doing hybrid. Then it was like, okay, the internship is over. The office is closed. We're done. And I was like, what? And mind you, I had just graduated. Like in my mind, I was like, okay, this is my second political internship. I'm about to, hopefully get hired on as like a lower legislative policy handler, and like maybe just be an assistant and like go to events and like just do, work the way up the post. COVID hit and I had to sit my butt down, and it was hard. First of all, it was extra hard because me and my friends, in preparation for celebrating, because we had all graduated at this point together, we were like, we're gonna go on a European tour in the summer, and we're gonna go to like 6 different European countries. Baby, we had booked all the tickets and the accommodations, and I lost like at least $1,000 from COVID coming. Like, just either it was non-refundable or things that they wanted to refund within a timeline. And it's like, it's COVID. Yeah. I don't know when I can take a flight again. Like, I don't know when, especially in freaking like, it was like Belarus. It was just like random places. Like, what do you think I'm going to be able to go over there? So I just feel like it was so hard during that time, because I lost $1,000 after just graduating. I lost my job. In my mind, I lost like my path to, cementing a career and like really being on that journey. And so I really just had to sit down and I had to think about life, like we all did. I think COVID really presented us with a moment of clarity. Like COVID was a bit of a mirror, at least for me. And it forced me to see things that like I really had to work through, especially when COVID started. I moved back home and with my parents. Mm-hmm. And I mean, thank God I'm out now. I mean, I make the joke and it's a joke, but I'll be like, bro, I will live in my car in LA before I move back to Virginia with my parents. Like, I love them. But I just think at a certain point, depending, you just need that built-in space makes me love them so much more. So I just feel like also living with them, COVID was just too much. And then it's not even like me and my parents weren't like having arguments or anything. I've always respected them. But I think it also gave us, it was like a time machine back into the past. And like my mom would do things that would trigger me. And I'm like, you're triggering me. And she's like, what do you mean? First of all, she's African. So she's like, bitch, what do you mean I'm triggering you? But like, she would just do behaviors. And I'd have to explain to her, okay, when I was 12 years old, blah, blah, blah happened. And you doing this is why I feel like this. To the point we actually, one night, I don't even know how we got to that point, but I told them some really like true dark stuff from when I was a teenager living in their house, and how much they just were so oblivious to certain things. And that was the first time I ever saw my dad cry. Like, when I say that man was heartbroken that night, I was like, yo, we are in a Tyler Perry soap opera right now, because I was like, and that's why I wanted to blah, blah, blah. And they were like, it was just so much. My dad was like, I gotta go. He left the house crying. I was like, this is so dramatic. But I think that moment especially gave me a lot of power to say I can confront my past. And if I can transform and deal with the stuff that I've been through and actually like stand on it and be like, no, this happened to me. I experienced it in this way. This is why I am the way I am. I was like, girl, what do you really want then? Because to that point, it had felt like I was putting on a lot of a performance. You know what I mean? I was so high functioning, middle school through high school. I was on like 10 plus clubs, third in my class. Literally, I could have been, when I tell you I missed like 20 days of high school my senior year, when I say I chose not to be valedictorian or salutatorian, like, I made it third in my class without trying. Like, I wasn't even trying at that point. Like, I was just like, I'm removed. But I just feel like because I had shown so much potential throughout my adolescence, there was so much pressure, especially like going into college. I got into UVA, which is like a very good school. It's very hard to get into. And my mom was going around telling everybody. And I don't know why, but it pissed me off so bad, because she was like, my daughter's in UVA, da da da. Like, it was so, I hated, she was so smart about something that I did, that I was like, I'm not about to be the reason you're some elitist girl. Like, you're not going to think you're all that because your daughter went to UVA. Plus, they somehow had messed up my financial aid, so I wasn't going to get any financial aid unless I like subpoenaed for all this whole, and I was like, this is a lot of extra work for a school I don't even want to go to. So I was like, I'm going to VCU, just kind of despite my mom and because of the financial aid thing. But I was just like, and I just feel like, but that has always been like a relationship I kind of had with my mom for a while, is that I feel like I did a lot of things to make her happy. And even going to VCU, I had started out in public relations, and I really loved communicating with people, obviously, learning how to put out messaging, learning how to reach your audience and like see a brand grow. Like, I loved all of that stuff. And I only changed my major because I felt like what I was doing wasn't respectable, especially for my African parents' ideals. Like, my mom always preached government, lawyer, doctor. Like, those are the things. And I just feel like COVID was the first time I really had a second to slow down, because even in college I was go, go, go. I had so many clubs. I was doing these internships. I think COVID was the first time literally in my after schooling to like be like, what do you want? And I was like, okay, I've done the government thing. It's not bad. It's very stable. Won't make me know so much now, Elon Musk. But sorry. I'm so sorry that y'all lost your jobs. But like, it was just not me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I had to dim so much of my personality. I feel like I couldn't be real and raw, and like you can, but you just don't know how it's always going to be accepted, especially in those spaces. And so I was just like, what even made me want to do government? And I was like, Olivia Pope, immediately. I was like, because I wanted to be White House communications director, honey. That was my goal. I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to do the emergency preparedness, then I'm going to go get my master's in public relations. And then I'm going to be like, but then I was like, girl, do you want to work in government, or do you just want to be an actor who pretends to work in government? Because there's a difference.
Yep.
And I was like, I think I want to act. And it wasn't like it was my first time saying it, because I've always been very creative. I did choir growing up. I played the saxophone in 6th grade. Like, I've always been a creative kid. And even to the point I placed like 7th in the county choir for soprano. Like, my voice was
Mm,
ranked at number 7. And those types of things, though, my mom wasn't going around like my baby was number 7 on the list. Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, she didn't give all that energy. So I feel like I always knew, like, I cannot pursue any of my creative passions in education, at least education they're paying for, because they just don't support that in that way. Um, but after COVID, I was like, girl, you've graduated, you got a little bit of that, what was that check they was sending everybody?
Oh, the stimulus got
I
stimulated,
was like,
got
you got your
stimuli,
little stimulus. I was
got
like, you
stimuli.
got the, I want to do a little PPP, but I don't know how y'all doing now. So I was like, I ain't gonna play with no PPP though. But I got my little stimulus checks, and I feel like once I had everything, like once I felt, because you can never be secure enough, honestly, especially
Yeah.
moving across the country, like something's gonna happen. But I was like, I have enough in my pocket that I'm like, at least try. And so I made sure I had a reason to come out here too, because I think that was going to help facilitate a transition into this industry, is why I applied to our school. And yeah, that's how COVID really pushed me out here. That was a
Mm.
long answer, but yeah.
It's all right. You were answering questions I was gonna ask anyway, and you are such a great storyteller. Wow. One thing I learned: don't interrupt a great storyteller. Let them go. Let them add their sauce on it, and all you do is smooth it over. So that's all we doing. So
Um,
well, we can talk about African parents. So my dad's African. He's Ghanaian. He passed away last June. But
RIP.
I went through the same thing. Yeah, I went through the same thing where I'm playing college football on a scholarship. I want to major in theater arts. For some reason, we didn't even have a good relationship. But I called and
Mm,
I told him this. Stupid me. And he pretty much scolded me and said, "You can't do anything with that. You need to major in business or technology." Or like we said, African parents, they all about that education. I don't care if you are the number one recruit in the nation. You
literally.
you better get 3 degrees before you get out of there, and then you can maybe do whatever you want if I say you can. And
Mm-hmm.
so hearing what you say really hits home. And for you being like, man, I didn't want to be the valedictorian. Like I still finished third in my class, and that was by just the skin of my teeth. But outside of that, you took the leap of faith and you come out to LA. You send an audition tape into ADA, American Academy of Dramatic Arts. You get accepted into there. That's your reason to move all the way over here to come to LA to go to acting school. And you were very good at acting. Like you were one of the best
Mm,
actors in our class, in that class that came for that year and a half of that span, in my opinion. But you also
thank
put
you.
in a lot of work. And like you talk about, you're high functioning. You're a part of all these clubs in college and high school. You're doing this, you're doing that. And when it's time to transfer that stuff into acting, you did very well because you've already always been doing it. What was that experience in acting school like for you? Was it easier than you thought it would be? Was it more difficult and challenging? What was it like for Amizi?
I think overall, I absolutely do not regret the experience. I think the people we met, some of the experiences we've had are indelible. Like forever, an impression has been made on me by some of the people I've met there. Um, I think it was very challenging, especially that first year in getting into the pace of things. The pace of things was crazy. Okay, the pace of things was actually that was hard. Um and I actually am so grateful for that now, because last week I was telling you I was so busy. I had 3 self-tapes back to back. I then had to do a callback. I had to do 2 other self-tapes on top for the same companies that I guess like my first ones but had like notes. It was just so much. And they want you to do it within 24 hours. And I remember when we would go through our exercises at school, I'm like, who the hell really is about to be doing this to me? But they were right. They don't give a They're gonna like push you and make you do stuff in such crunch time that it is very overwhelming. But I'm actually so grateful because I've been overwhelmed already. Like, this isn't a shock to my system. It's like, well, do what you got to do or don't get it done. But you know what it is and what it isn't. Like, you know what I mean? So I really loved that experience, especially like dance classes. I think those were so freeing, especially once we got to like Miss Nichols, because she expected excellence.
Yep.
And crazily enough, I wanted those teachers that would make me want to cry. Not that she ever made me cry, but like I wanted to feel like I wanted that energy. I wanted that pressure because again, we are African. There was no gentle parenting in my house. It was like you're coming home the best or you're coming home, but we're going to look at you like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I feel like I really appreciated those teachers that were just so straightforward and straight to the point and be like, this is some shit. Like, thank you. I know. So thank you. Like, don't sugarcoat it with me. I really respect a straight shooter. Always say things with empathy and grace, but I appreciate somebody just telling me the truth. So I really loved that part of the experience, and also finally like collaborating with other people. Mm-hmm. You know, there are parts of the program, you know, I've told you what I think could be done better. Yeah. But that's really neither here or there now that unfortunately RIP to our school campus, they're closing. Sorry. Guys, I just want you to know, like, I'm laughing because something is stirring within me, and I just laugh as a way to cover whatever that is. But I'm not happy they're closing.
Laughing to cope.
Huh?
Laughing to cope.
No, literally laughing to cope. Because it's like I spent all this money, and they were like, well, as an like alumni, you can still come use all the library and blah blah. First of all, what are they doing with those playbooks? Because I definitely would like a sale, and I would go buy them for $1 if that was the thing. Like,
you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna ship them all the way back to New York. You know what they're gonna do. You know what they're gonna do. You know what they're gonna do. Why is it even a question of your mind? You know what they're gonna do.
Because they just ain't never done that for me. But no, they did it a little bit. I just wish, I don't regret doing the program at all. But as an actor, you're always going to need more schooling. But do I regret paying the amount of money I paid to do the program? A little bit. But that's really, I think, my biggest regret is that it was so expensive. And I think some of the classes were slight time wasters, and I feel like there's so much more that I still am so green about, and I've had to go through trials and tribulations after, but it was also such a freeing experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, I literally lip synced to Nicki Minaj as a demon. Like, when else am I gonna do that in my life? I was throwing stuff out of my boobs, like it was such a time to play. It was like a giant playground. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, some people played a little too hard, you know who you are. But it was a really fun time. And I think I wish to have more uninhibited experiences like that, especially as an actor, because ever since leaving, I've become much more self-conscious, because they always preach, you know, like, be self-aware but not self-conscious. And I feel like I've definitely kept the self-awareness, but I'm starting to feel myself like lock back into societal norms and be like, you can't do that. That's not like socially acceptable. But I'm like, but my actor self needs this. Like, I need to just break through that. Like, even today, like, well, you know, I'm a little hot-headed.
A little, okay. Uh-huh.
But here's the thing, I don't get angry often, but when I get angry, I'm pissed. Yeah. So it's like, just don't piss me off, because it's really unthoughtfulness is what will piss me off. If whatever you did was rude and unthoughtful as hell, it's going to piss me off. And so today I even had like a little verbal altercation with this random stranger because it was none of their business what I was doing, and B, they were just being rude from the jump. But like, I was so proud of myself after, because I was like, socialized Ami would have been like, you know what, no, and walked away. But that was acting school Ami, because she was ready for the smoke. She was like, I'm uninhibited. Oh, you want the smoke? So I do appreciate Ada for, making me appreciate my idiosyncrasies and my quirks, because they're fun. Hold on, I need to charge my iPad. How did Ada go for you?
Ada, for me, man, I was like a fish out of water. I don't know about you, but acting experience, I had a drama class in high school. I had, I think, was it acting 101 and 102 in college. So nothing too crazy or too outlandish. And so sometimes, you go into acting with this idea in your head of what acting is. Oh, I could
Mm.
act out that part just like Denzel did. But I came to the rude awakening that acting school is really being able to create something on your own. To for somebody to hand out 10 scripts of the same thing, and for 10 people to do 10 separate or different things with different choices in there. And I kind of didn't get that till the end, probably about midway through my time at ADA. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but but after that, I got more comfortable in seeing people, like being coming from a sports background and a football background. We do so much like film study and like watching other people and stealing stuff from other people, that I didn't know, or I wasn't aware that that's kind of what acting can be too, which you can turn that into as acting. And a little bit of that was reading and learning about it, exactly what it is. But I'll say we had some great teachers. We had some great learning experiences, whether we're watching our classmates or just watching how other people are moving. But it was, for me, it was, I come from a world where sports, you put aside, you're mad, or your girlfriend broke up with you, or you're not having a good day. You check that at the door when you walk into practice or the building, and you go through practice, and then on your way out, you pick all this stuff up, put it back on, and take it home with you.
Mm.
Acting, you take that stuff into the classroom with you, or into your play or whatever you're doing, and you try to see how that affects your work and makes you better, or more angry, or more whatever it is in your scene, and that's what you try to do with it. So it caused me to be a lot more vulnerable, and that took a while for
Mm.
that to occur. But now I have all these tools in my belt to really be more in tune, with myself as an actor, and that's what I liked about it. So for me, it was very interesting, and like I said, I was doing this for a person that didn't want to have any regrets that I didn't take this opportunity.
Yeah.
And not sure if I'll be an actor, or if I'll be in any commercials or anything like you. But I know now that, like you said, what is it to be uninhibited? What is it to not have to follow the social norms? What is it to be creative? And I think that's the biggest
Mhm.
thing I learned, is being more creative, and making choices, and being comfortable with them, knowing that everybody's not going to like them. But at the same
Exactly.
time, you did something and you created something, which a lot of people are afraid to do.
Mm-hmm. It's a little bit like rejection therapy.
Mhm.
I feel like it forces you to be in situations that you probably might not have been in before, and you were like scared to do something, but it forces you to sit in that uncomfortability and really sit with yourself and see, like, why is this affecting me like this? Like, why, if he says this line to me here, like, what is this bringing up? Like, I think it's such a great way to confront yourself, as long as you do it in the healthy way. We've definitely seen people get up there and they box them with their demons, and it's like, that's too much for this scene. You know what I mean? Like, that's a little too much for this scene. But I do think it's such an introspective craft, and it's such a fun field, because you do get to be creative and do those things, and you can still take that into your life, especially like the spontaneity. Like, who doesn't want more spontaneous moments in their life? And especially the people around you, I'm sure, you know doing random acts of love and kindness for your girlfriend is probably like a thing that you are more thoughtful and maybe like can see now through acting, because it's like, oh my god, like I don't have to be so rigid in whatever I thought it needed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And so staying with the notion of acting, so like I said, you're a great actress. What act we're not supposed to call them actresses. What actors do you look up to that are doing their thing that you look at and you're like, man, if I could be good like her, if I can be rangy like her, who are a couple of your your people
Ooh.
that you look up to, your influences, your acting influences?
Okay, of course we're gonna have to say Viola Davis. Like I love her. Of course we're gonna have to say Kerry Washington. We're saying all the greats we know. I think Elizabeth Moss from Handmaid's Tale is so good. I love I love the specificity, the intensity, the like everything about her, especially like in all of her work. I just think she's phenomenal. Um, I think right now I'm trying to think of the shows I'm watching right now. Um, I don't know her name, but there is an actress in a show called Yellow Jackets. And she plays the character Thaisa Turner. There's a young and an old, because it's like a show that goes back and forth in time. I think both of them are incredible, 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 incredible. I think the emotional vulnerability is there. I think the character thought is there. Like it's just amazing to see them work. Um, like if I could go on set tomorrow, but you also said just women, so let me think.
Well,
Mm.
actors are men and women, so whatever you want to say.
Oh, okay. Well, because you said actresses at first, I was like, okay.
Well,
Um,
politically correct, what we learn
right.
in acting school now is that there's not a okay, anyway.
No, no, no. I love them. I'm trying to think like off the top of my head who's coming to me who's really like I've been having so much fun watching them. Um, mm, I mean, shout out to Aaron Pierre just because he fine. Like, that's what we're gonna see with you, Aaron Pierre. but no, there's so many. I mean, there's just so many people out there right now. Like, there's so many people I would want to work with. Honestly, like the list is endless. I think there is so much talent right now out in the pool, which is also why it's so hard to get something. Um, but no, and Kate Blanchett, because girl, you ate in that thing where you was the conductor. I was shook for days. Okay, clock
Oh,
that.
what should those are some long monologues and stuff she was doing on there.
Like, yo, she, and it's just the most imperceptible facial twitches that like
Yeah.
I live for as an actress, because I'm like, you can't really fake the face switch. I mean, maybe you can, but like you're in it. So yeah. Those people are killing it right now. Oh, and shout out to my girl from Insecure. What's her name? She just
Which
had the
one?
show on Hulu. Natalie. No,
Oh,
Natasha.
Natalie
Natasha.
Roswell, Natasha
Natasha
Roswell,
Ross.
It starts with a R.
Something. Yes. Natasha, though, girl. You doing great. You doing really good. I really liked that show she has on Hulu
That they
right
canceled
now.
after 1 year, 1 season.
Oh. And they need to support Black art. No, they shouldn't have canceled it after one season, because I saw so much of myself in that character and her relationship with her brother. I was like, this is me and my brother. And it was so good. But you know what? It's okay, girl, because you moving on to Who the F Did I Marry? And that's gonna be so good too. So I'm really excited. I love her work. But yeah, there's so many people to look out for.
Look at you just knowing all these names, all these shows off the top of your head. The great, and I think the funny thing is, so with sports and acting, or just sports and performing, you, I'm not going to say you have to have influences, but it helps to be able to look at people and to know and to want to craft yourself after to be similar. And we just know
Mm,
in acting, there's never anybody that's cookie cutter just like this person because you want to
yeah.
be different. Like you said, just the small face twitches of Kate Blanchett in this movie are just what she does. And she's an OG in the game up there. She hasn't been doing it as long as Meryl Streep, but she's kind of
Mm,
on that trajectory to do that same thing.
for sure.
And so we graduate from acting school. We're at acting school for a year and a half, but I also want to talk about something because we come into acting school mid-year, so January going
Hmm.
on, and we stay there pretty much a year and a half. So we end up being in a different class than the people that came in August. And then once we finish our first semester or term or whatever, we kind of link up back with this class after summer, and then we go through the year with them. So with
Hmm.
that being said, there was a little bit, not that there was any animosity or anything like that, but it was just weird. Like we have these kids we see, but we don't really know them because we don't have class with them, and
Yeah.
we're like on a total different time schedule. But so our class was made up of, let's say, 12 to 15 people in there, and
Hmm.
we range from age. There's people that have coming straight out of high school and getting into acting school, and then you have people that are older, like myself, who's 30 something, or like Ami, who's been to school, and this isn't your first time going to
Wait,
school.
I put I was basically 18 in my
In
not
your
like with
head,
the old people. I was 12 in my mind.
I'm not putting you up there with the old people. I'm just saying you had been through college, you got a degree.
No,
Like,
right.
so you knew what that was like. So, but like also I talk about acting school being different. And even for me, I'm like, what are we doing in class today? Okay, we're, laying on the ground like animals. All right, cool. I'll do that.
Hmm.
All right, what else do we okay, we gotta come in and okay, like it was fun in a way of like, I can't believe we're actually paying for this. And not the like, you know what I mean? Like in a weird, crazy way. But that's also like there are other people that had been coming from performing arts schools or acting schools in high school that had a more extensive background too. So
Hmm.
essentially, what I'm saying is like we get put in this class with some probably half of the class that's like, yeah, I'm here for school, and it's like how your first year of college would be, where you like, I'm away from home. I'm
Yeah.
gonna drink and party every weekend. I'm gonna smoke and drink every night. I'm gonna come in and like acting, you cannot fake acting school. You can't, what I mean? You can fake a little bit in undergrad, like, man, I don't know that, man, I ain't studied for the test last night. You better have some good
Hmm.
eyesight and be able to see that test that's over there from somebody else's paper. But in acting school, if you come in and you don't know your lines from your monologue, there's nothing to save you. If you don't know your lines for the senior
Well,
end,
there is something to save you.
yes, but we won't talk about that because we gonna keep we don't know who gonna see this. So we
You know what? I'll admit it, Andy. When we get to it, I will apologize to the party that must not deserve that I'm
it, we ain't gonna get to that part. But anyway, so if you don't have it in acting school, you just don't have it. Like, and
Period.
there are some people that made excuses when it's time for their day to perform. Somebody actually got me in trouble. I wasn't prepared one day, but I got in trouble because the person in front of me that was supposed to go was sick or something like that. And I didn't have any of my stuff with me to be able to perform. And I had what did Mr. Hart say? I was the first person he had written up in years or something like that because I wasn't prepared. Like,
Oh my God. I completely forgot you did get a write up or something. I was like,
and I'm
oh,
gonna and I'm gonna remember that day from the rest for the I'll remember that day forever because I'm gonna remember that day or what's gonna make it significant for me.
what?
You know what the date was?
What? Was it your
Two?
birthday?
No.
Oh.
2/22/22.
What? No,
That's the date I got written up. I had to go to the office, get this sheet, come back. I
did you
was
look up that angel number 222 and see what it meant?
I did not knew nothing about it, but I'm scarred. So anytime I see twos, I kind of start shaking a little bit from PTSD. But you have a great time in college. You get casted as the lead in plays, and you're not the teacher's pet, but you're somebody that the teachers and the professors are drooling over. Ami knows her stuff. She's so great when she comes in. She has this bubbly personality, which you did. And you're also very popular. Like all the girls wanted to be by you. Girl, I like your shirt. I like your shoes. Your hair's
Oh
point.
my
We used to kick it like, and Ami is just eating it all up. But she's also really genuine. So I'm just sitting there just looking at her like, Ami, come to lunch with us. Ami, come over here. She's getting pulled in all, like she said, in her head, she's 12. So she's loving all of this love. And but through everything, you thrive in acting school.
Yeah.
We graduate, and now you hit the real world. Would you say, well, it? I know our teachers and professors talked to us about how now the acting world was going to be different since COVID, with
Mhm.
going from in-person stuff to going to submissions, online submissions, and things like that. You just spoke about that a little bit earlier. What was that transition like? Was it easier than you thought? More challenging? About the same? Like, what was that exactly?
I think it was way harder than I thought, and even way harder to just apply the base of what I thought. Like, because what I thought completely, like, it'll get you somewhere, but it's not a booking. You know what I mean? Like, you'll get somewhere, but it's not a booking. It was like a crash and burn moment for me, honestly. I, especially after leaving a program, and as you so politely put, I was validated constantly, whether it be from my peers or my teachers or whatever may have you. Even from being tapped to perform at graduation, I was like, I really did something, because y'all was really like messing with me. And this is from the girl who was literally like not, I never thought about this seriously until COVID hit. So it was just like, it wasn't such a long time span for me to mentally be like, oh my God, I am that girl. Like, I'm doing this acting thing. Like, I can really, well, no, I did get there. And then I was like, I was like, wait, I'm not that girl. Like, I was like, I got there. And then I was like, I don't know how much time. Like, I don't know if I'll be ready. And then after acting school, because you've been so validated, you've been in this bubble, you're like, oh my God, like, who doesn't want me? Like, I'm booking all of our mock commercials. And not to say, like, the pool was easier to beat in acting school, but I definitely think now it must have just been bias because, like, I think y'all just thought I was cute and I was a good time, because it's so much harder to book in real life. I'll tell you that. No, it was a very tough transition, like very tough. Um, Especially when you see, and that's always the comparison, is the thief of joy, especially when you see like the people who have graduated with you out of the same year, out of the same program, who may have not been as validated by the professors and whatnot. So it's like, what the hell? You know what I mean? And it kind of feels like a mind game, because it's like, wait, I thought I was the it girl. And then, so to have, it was a little bit of an ego death, honestly. I had to like sit back and be like, okay, I'm out of the ATA bubble, I'm in the LA market. Like, obviously I wasn't booking stuff, so I'm like, why am I not marketable to these people? And it was really hard. I think I dealt with a lot of like anxiety during that time. I was definitely functionally depressive. Like, I'm washing my ass, but I'm probably going to be in bed for the rest of the day. But the ass is clean. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot of bed rot. And I feel like never once was I like, but I'm going to leave. It was just like, I don't know. I just kind of felt like I was in this stasis. And honestly, if I'm going to be honest, I feel like I really just popped that bubble like 3 months ago. Like, honestly, I feel like the transition first to just getting an agent, weirdly enough, getting an agent wasn't that hard, but a good agent takes a little bit more work, actually. So my first agent wasted a little bit of my time, and I definitely, and I was like, and now, not to say I'm never gonna like want to work with another woman of color or people of color. They're still my preference, but I now have come into the thought of, okay, these are my preferences, but sometimes it just can't be my choice because of whatever reasons. Like, I need to make sure I'm moving my career forward, and I want a team around me who is representing me in the best way possible and also giving me the best possible advice to move forward. So it was really hard to even get auditions after acting school, with my agent. And then it wasn't until I moved agencies I got a referral from a friend who had booked a lot of commercials, and they were like, you're so talented, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know you can do this. Maybe you just need a better representation. So once I got that new rep and I got some new headshots, like when I say my first agent, I had one commercial in 1 month. I was like, and I'd been with her for like several months. So it was just that one commercial actually for like 4 or 5 months. I got with this agency. I had like a commercial a week. I was like, what's going on? I was like, well, happily what's going on. But like, it was like night and day. But then it went from, okay, you weren't getting any commercial auditions to now you're getting the auditions, but you're not getting callbacks. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what do I do now? So at that point, I started like trying to play with my hair a little bit. I cut some hair off. I think around that time I dyed it. I was just like, what can I do to like differentiate myself a little bit and maybe like stand out? So that started getting me places until I eventually got my first callback. But my first callback it wasn't a traditional first callback. Like, I didn't put in a self-tape and then they called me back from that tape. I think it was a casting agency. I had already put like a tape in for something else, and maybe they liked my work and they didn't find who they needed for the first time for whatever role from this. So they were just like, bring her in for a callback and let's see how she does it. Yeah. So then, if I'm going to be actually honest, my first real official callback, I just got like last week. That was my first real official callback, because ever since that one, I have had more in-person auditions, but either it's like a random like is just the first person audition, like the first audition is in person, or I'm getting a callback because of another tape. Now, the fact that people are calling me back in from previous tapes, but not like from whatever this tape was, shows I'm booking the room. Like, people like me. They just need to find the right job for me. So now that I've gotten to this point where I got the callback and I got put on a veil, which means like it's really between you and one other person. Like, we're going to book one of you. So just block these dates off. That was such a huge thing for me, because I was like, oh my God, I've never been on a veil before. So I feel like my process has been slow, because it's been almost 2 years or 3 years since we graduated from ADA. And I feel like, it's so easy to compare yourself to where other people have been or what they've been doing. But I'm really grateful in that I feel like, one, mentally, I'm pacing with the level of work that I'm doing. 2, I really took the time to get like my mental health together and really like assess the things that I was going through, especially after graduating, being on a whole different coast. All of like my core friends and family are on the East Coast. And then like not actually being successful in the career you came out for. It was a lot to go through. So I'm really just grateful that I like even am at this space now. So eventually, basically, I leveled up my setup. I got like background, I bought lights. Like, I was like, who was it? It was Awanjane Ellis. Did I say her name right? Do you know who I'm talking about?
I do not. She is not Ada, right? She's famous.
No, she's famous. Okay. She was in Lovecraft Country. Did you watch Lovecraft Country?
I did.
Was she in Lovecraft Country?
You don't be making stuff up, man.
I'm about to show you a picture of her. But she had basically said, yeah, here she is. Let me find a good. I'm like, girl, why she look different in every picture? Like me.
Okay.
She had once said, because somebody was like, how do you feel like you started booking roles? She was like, I stopped giving them a reason not to book me. And I just like, that hit me, because I was like, what are the things is gonna not draw the eye to your performance, but something outside of it, or like the things that aren't going to help you book? And I was like, girl, you need a better setup. Girl, you need to always have your hair done. Girl, you need to make sure your nails are always done. Like, they're just, it sounds so vapid, but that
Yeah.
is the industry that I chose to be in. Certain things just always have to look right for you to be able to get a part. So I feel like once I really was like, not like, I really took that in, I wasn't offended that, because I am enough as I am sitting talking to you right now. Like, I, even if my face wasn't done, like, I would be enough. But for the industry that I'm in, I have to bend to some of the things that they want. So I was just like, okay, like, what can I do to switch it up? And I'm telling you, once I put that background, them lights, and I was really like doing my hair in whatever ways, that's when all of like the callbacks that I was earning was coming. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, like, this is work. So I'm really hoping this is the next chapter where I've been busy because I've gotten so many commercial auditions, but let's book it now. Let's be booked and busy. So
Let's be booked and busy. I like how you said the I'm getting the callbacks I earned. You're not just saying like I'm getting callbacks. You say I'm getting the callbacks that I earned from all the work and that I'm
yeah.
doing in and around this. And I think that's awesome. You're at such a good age. I like to tell people who are in their early 20s, chase after what you want.
I'm
Go
not in
at
my
it.
early 20s.
Uh-huh.
How old do you think I am? I'm not
Early
knocking on
mid 20s,
30.
early mid, but I'm saying when you said I went to acting school at
Oh, yeah,
23,
then,
like
yeah.
I'm talking like early and mid 20. I'm talking about anybody in your 20s to be honest, and
Yeah.
even after that. But chase after what you want because you're going to get to a certain point where you might be too old to get it, or you might get married, you might have kids, but you're at the point now. Don't be afraid to fail as you're chasing
Hmm.
something. Don't be afraid to do it because you moved all the way out here from the East Coast, and like you said, with a couple stimulus checks to your name, and you knew like you set up the plan to go to acting school to give you something to be doing, not just working a job and going and doing auditions, but like you're trying to get the training, you are working during it, still trying to make money to pay rent and get what you need.
Ooh.
Um, yeah, but do this stuff in your 20s because at least you can say you did it. I remember a great
Mm,
quote. I read it in my 20s, and that's a little bit of the reason why I went back to acting school. And they said, the people that regret not doing something were usually good enough to do it. And so you've
mhm.
never heard somebody complain like, "Man, I took 2 years off after college and I went backpacking and it sucked." Oh, like you never hear that. You hear people
Right.
come back with an experience and they say, "Oh, it was great." Even if you didn't come away with anything like any materialistic stuff that was valuable, you came back with an experience that a lot of people are afraid to pass up. They rather pass it up and think about what would have been rather
Mm.
than doing it and saying what it was. Oh, that's a bar. I'm gonna put that down.
Oh, God.
And,
No, you ate that. You ate that.
and so just for the last one, because I want to ask you this, you're at a real interesting point in your life. You're I'm not gonna you're the age that you're at. We never say a woman's
I'm
name age.
28.
Dang. Okay, she's 28, but you're at this certain point where you've chosen to chase acting, you've chosen to move away from home, you're
Hmm.
growing as a person, you're into acting, it's a cutthroat business. What exactly have your friendships looked like over these last couple of years as you chase your dream?
I feel like some of them have really grown and deepened in ways I never imagined. And I think some of them honestly have fallen apart so quickly that you're like, were we friends? Like, it was, especially the friends that I feel like I've met out here. It's been very hard to find genuine people who want to see you win as much as they want to see themselves win. And I think that's like the biggest part in friendship for me, is that I want people rooting me on and cheering me on as hard as they cheer for themselves, because I'm going to do that for my friends. Um so it's been a lot of changes. The thing is, I have my core group of friends. I've met majority of them in middle school. So like they're never going anywhere. Like, we went to middle school together. Some of us went to high school together. And then we all met back up in college. Like, you know what I mean? Like, every monumental, life changing time period there was, we were already together. Not to say that we never fought, because, child, we fought. But, like, those friendships, I still have to nurture them, but I'm not like, I don't have to be like, oh my God, I didn't call her this week. We're just not friends. Like, we're probably never going to talk again. Even though there are those friends in LA, like dead ass, if I don't talk to them for a week or two, I'm like, I don't think I'll ever see them again. Like, that's just the nature of it here sometimes. So I think it's been really hard because I am able to make those short-term friendships out here, but what really speaks to my soul are those long-term friendships that I've cultivated from home, and those people that I feel like fit into that mold that I've met here, like you, like Nathan. Shout out to you, Nene. Um, like Elena. Like, I just love genuine, good-hearted people, and I think that they're few and far between. And I don't know if that's just an LA thing or it's just the state of the world now. But and then the thing is, when you do want, this is not just acting, but I think this is just getting older, especially at this part of your life, because I'm at the age where half of my kids have babies. I was like teen pregnancy, and then I was like, wait, we're 26. And I was like, okay. I'm like, I guess they're allowed to have babies. Then, and half of them are married or in very serious committed relationships. So it's like, you're not going to already see those friends just because they live 2,000 miles away. And then for the friends I have here, most of my friends here don't have children, but because of the way LA is set up, you have several different hustles probably to pay your rent and all your other bills you're taking on. And then people also are just so busy and so spread out that it's like so hard to see and touch and commune with people in person. So it's honestly, I think I could do better. I really could do better personally in cultivating that community and cultivating those friendships, especially the ones I found out here that I do want to see grow, and I do want to see, like, for a while, like, I plan to have a plate at your wedding. I don't know if you thought I'd be there, but I'm going to be there. I just, for you and the future misses, like, I just hope I'm eating and I'm getting the steak, whatever the options are. I want the steak. But like, there are those people that I think are worth fighting for, and I think I just need to do a better job of fighting for our friendships. But finding those people out here have been few and far between. Like,
Yeah.
that's the hard part.
Yeah. It's difficult in LA, especially, when you're working in the acting industry where honestly, LA, there seems like somebody always wants to see how you can help them or what you can do for them so they can position themselves, which makes it hard to have friendships because you don't know who's really after stuff for the ulterior motive of everything. But I like
Mhm.
what you said because it's about growth. You said, hey, I need to do better at cultivating community, about having people to lean on. And like I said, being a transplant, a lot of people are
Mhm.
transplants, but coming out here early 20s, all the way from the East Coast, like, and you're making it and you're doing it. And so, with that being said, I always give my guest the last word. Any advice
Mhm.
you have for any young woman out there or young people that are chasing their dream, mostly in this acting world or as an actor, anything to help
Mm.
them?
I would say number one thing, invest in yourself. And when I say that, I don't just mean, oh, flippantly, invest in yourself. Like, no, I mean, seriously, stop eating out. Stop spending all the random money you're spending that will add up to nothing next week. And take that money and truly invest in yourself, invest in your craft, take those classes. Instead of going and buying a J, save up the $10 every day and go take a class, okay? Because I think we all are chasing so much short-term gratification and instant gratification these days. And, especially like with Ozempic, I'm like, not that it's a bad drug. I think that it's such a great hack for people who really have struggled and for people who just want to see a different version of themselves. But I think sometimes in life there aren't hacks, and sometimes you just need to take the time to invest. And I think that's my biggest piece of advice. It's the people we see right now who are on those stages and on those screens accepting awards. They took the time and invested whatever and however many hours and the money it took, they did it. And I feel like, yes, you might not have the means, you might not have, the financial fortitude that you think you need to do it, but sometimes you just have to go out on faith and pray to God the money comes back. Do you know how many times I've done something and I was like, I don't have the money for this. I still paid my rent. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. So it's like, I think you really need to just take that time and pour into you, pour into yourself, pour into your ambitions, and really try to do it to the best of your ability. And take, with a pinch of salt, take that constructive criticism, because if you really trust them, they're not trying to hurt you, they're really just trying to help you. And I'm a hard-headed girl. Like, I need to learn a lesson a million times before it fully sticks in. And I think that's one thing that has got, like, I get in my way so much. But get out of your way, take the advice, find the people that you trust, and just invest in yourself. Like, that is what's going to get you further than anything.
Mm, Jesus. That is Ami Z, ladies and gentlemen. Pour into yourself, invest, take the constructive criticism with a grain of salt, because if they're trying to correct you, that means they really care about you and they want to see you do well. And just like that, we got another guest and she comes in here and crushes it and just
Oh,
does
man.
everything under the sun. I think I'm going to turn the show over to her. So after this, it'll be quality time with Ami Z, no longer Uncle Drew. And so if you guys tune in next time and I'm not here, just know she usurped me and took
Look,
everything
if you
from me.
ever need
So
a guest host, a co-host, let me know. I will come on. I will be my best self. We'll see.
yeah, see, look, she planning to take my shit, y'all, but it's all good. She can have it because she earned it and because she deserved it. One of the up and coming actresses that I will say, Ami's going to be great at what she does because she puts the work in. Ami, thank you for your time. We appreciate you. We love you.
Thank
We look
you.
forward to having you on next time, girl.
Thank you.